For Montana East Regional News, this is Emily Boyles. Friday, the state put their case to rest in the Walter Larson murder trial on Friday. Larson is accused in the 2008 murder of Susan Marie Casey. Although Thursday's testimony left hanging blood on a towel found in Larson's apartment, that moved the Billings police to get a search warrant Friday, the state did not revisit that towel. Instead, they spent the day finishing up how evidence was found and processed, including Susan Casey's body, which was found by FWP Fisheries employee Alan Akram in a boat on the Yellowstone River on May 6, 2008. Akram was also a neighbor of Susan Casey's in the Ponderosa building in Glendive. Short testimony was also heard from a co-worker of Larson's who established Larson sometimes did work in the Glendive area, as well as from a man who found Susan Casey's checkbook. Two significant witnesses appeared for the prosecution. Ted Casey, the man the defense says is the culprit, testified. Casey said he did not meet Walter Larson until 1998, and in the interim raised Walter Larson's children, who were very young at the time. He described in detail what he found on two different occasions after his dogs alerted him in the middle of the night that someone was on his property back in 1998. The incidents included a disabled car and a stolen purse belonging to Susan. He also said he was concerned at that time about Walter Larson's relationship with his family. Ted Casey also described Susan Larson as a woman who liked to go out with friends and was often gone until the early morning hours while he was with the four children, two of his own and two fathered by Walter Larson. Ted Casey described several incidents of domestic violence, one which resulted in his arrest. After the incident, he called her father and apologized. Susan's mother also testified that he apologized to her as well. Casey said, quote, "I still feel really bad about it." Casey also said it concerned him that Susan wanted the children to see their father and did not know that she took the two that he had fathered to Billings with her to meet Walter Larson. Ted Casey said that after his arrest in the fall of 2011, Susan Casey moved out, but she continued to come to his house. His voice was dropping, and he said that the couple discussed divorce, but Susan did not know when she would file. During that time, Ted Casey worked two jobs and made Susan's car payment and insurance payments. At the time, Ted Casey received an anonymous call from a male on April 11, 2008, just before Susan Casey went missing. That call identified Brad Holzer as a love interest of Susan's, and he said at that time he was already making plans to meet a new girl that he, Ted Casey, had contact with at PBR in Billings. Ted Casey also said he did not contact Holzer, but did drive by his house several times. He said he did that because, quote, "out of curiosity to see what he was driving. I wanted to see because I was going to get a divorce, and if something really happened, I would know," unquote. Ted Casey also said that life insurance money left by Susan went primarily to pay for her funeral. That was around $15,000, and the remainder plus Susan's last paycheck and vacation pay from GMC was split among her four children. Ted Casey added, quote, "I didn't want to get a divorce and didn't want her family to break up. I was concerned about the other men she was seeing also. There was nothing I could do about it." He also conceded to the defense, "Yeah, I wasn't happy," unquote. Ted Casey also admitted to, with the help of a daughter, contacting Susan's friends and hacking into her email to see what she was saying to Walter Larson. At that point, the state was down to two witnesses. First, they recalled Glendive Chief of Police Ty Ulrich, who was then captain on the Glendive force. Through Chief Ulrich's testimony, the jury was provided a tape of phone messages retrieved from Susan's cell phone. There were 22 messages from Walter Larson, most which said he was concerned that she had not called him back, that he was going to notify family if he did not receive a call back. He did call Susan Casey's family. There were other voicemails from concerned friends and two other male voices not specifically identified by name to the jury that said simply, quote, "It's me. I guess you don't want to talk to me. Call me." The jury also viewed interview video taken in 2012 at the time of Walter Larson's arrest. During that interview with Wally Peters and then Assistant Chief Ty Ulrich, Walter Larson said he knew by the way he was targeted in 2008 that at some point the day would come when they would return. He said, quote, "I have no future," unquote. The final state witness was Thomas Lynn Bennett, the deputy state medical examiner who performed the autopsy on Susan Casey and who explained to the jury how the state determined Susan Casey died from manual strangulation. The jury viewed a demonstrative picture from afar of Susan during that autopsy Using that, he explained how, what, and where he found the broken hyoid bone in her neck. He also said that based on the physical evidence, her body could have been in the water as little as 12 days or as long as 36 days in the water. When we come back, we will bring you what happened when the defense asked for the judge to dismiss the Montana East Regional News with Emily Boyles is produced by Marks Group Broadcasting. You can listen weekdays in Glendive, Forsyth, Miles City, and Sidney, Williston, and Dickinson, North Dakota. Find Montana East Regional News on television on KXGN CBS and KXGN NBC. You can also keep up with breaking news and great regional events. Find Emily Boyles on Twitter and Facebook.
Welcome to your daily dose of reality. Today's update remembers things you can't believe used to be cool. The mullet, strike one. Parachute pants, strike two. And strike three, I can't even look at it. It's the spit cup. Chew on this. Smokeless isn't safe. And what used to be macho is just not.
If you're just joining us, we are wrapping up the Friday session of the State v. Larson, the Walter Larson murder trial. After the state rested their case in State v. Larson on Friday, the jury was dismissed for the day. Meanwhile, Judge Richard Simonton entertained a motion from the defense to dismiss the case. Defense attorney J. Thomas Bartleson cited Montana Code annotated 46-16-403. That law establishes if evidence is insufficient to go to a jury. When at the close of the prosecution's evidence or at the close of all the evidence is insufficient to support a finding or verdict of guilty, the court may, on its own motion or motion of the defendant, dismiss the action and discharge the defendant. In this case, Bartleson said that's what was happening. The defense asserted that the state did not cite a crime scene or tied Larson to the crime scene or injuries sustained by Susan Casey, and that they did not explain the charge of tampering with the evidence. State Attorney Brant Light, of course, disagreed. Here's what the judge said.
Having heard 5 days of testimony, viewed 2 interviews with the defendant, and considered his demeanor during those interviews, presence at the crime scene, presence in Miles City, the discrepancy in the clothing, or at least what a reasonable juror could determine was a discrepancy in the clothing, and considered what was done to that van in standing water, the 1998 incident, a reasonable juror could put all of that together to find that the state has met its burden of proof beyond a reasonable doubt. The whole deliberate homicide and tampering with evidence to the defendant's motion for judgment of acquittal on both counts is denied, and we'll start the defendant's case on Monday.
As Judge Simonton indicated, we will be back in the courtroom on Monday as the defense begins their case to defend Walter Larson. For Montana East Regional News, this has been Court Watch. This is Emily Boyles.